No matter how we explain the Easter story, next week we'll have to celebrate Pentecost arrival. But our faith is built upon a Jesus who didn't get any justice, but still gave us joy. I wanted us to think a little this morning, because this text that James offers us is a hard text considering what has happened in the last 14 days. Mass shootings of innocent people at the grocery store. Children who were safer at home during COVID than they found themselves in classroom trying to learn. Where is the justice for these people? How is it that you could shoot and kill multiple people in a grocery store and only get charged for one of them? Where is the justice for the lives lost, and where is the justice for the money that will be spent and all of the energy that will be given to try to figure out what's wrong with him, instead of fixing the problem a few blocks from these holy grounds? How do you, Brother Bethea, talk to these families with James's text, and he says, count it all joy? I love the Bible because it has all dimensions of life. But there are times when texts like this don't seem to make sense in situations that we're currently living in. I haven't lived that long. 59 years is really not that long. But I've lived long enough through so many mass shootings of people and have had to endure stuff since the 1963, the year I was born. They assassinated a president with an assault rifle. And we live as African American people with this constant reality placed upon our lives when we go through tragic situations and somebody says, count it all joy. I wanted to help you to understand that what James wants us to understand is hard to explain. We have some really good people in this world. But isn't it amazing that some of the best people in this world have to deal with some of the toughest situations? There was a book or a conversation of the past that says, why do bad things happen to good people and why do good things happen to bad people? It's life. It's that balance or that tension between what we want to happen versus what will happen. James says, count it all joy when. He didn't say if. He says when. Trouble does not discriminate with anybody. Trouble doesn't have a bias, and all of us have had to deal with trouble in our lives. Some of us seem to handle trouble a little bit differently than others, and we're discovering now, as science has allowed us to be fluent about what is really going on, that some of the trouble we've endured actually caused us some mental anguish, and it has affected our mental health. I don't know about you, but have you ever been mad so long that you forgot why you were mad? And found yourself acting out in ways that were not normal for you? Stuff happens, and we don't have any explanations for it. James says that when trouble comes, there is a side of trouble that helps us to understand that in the midst of the darkest days of our lives, James says, count it all joy. Brother Mabry, I was wondering, how would life be if we never had any trouble? You ain't never stumped your toe. You ain't never had a bad grade. You've never had a falling out. You've never been fired from a job. You've never been threatened to be fired from a job. You've never got into a scuffle in the neighborhood. You never ran a red light. You always paid your taxes on time and got a refund and tithed the Lord the part of the refund. Things have just been going. You've always had long, pretty hair. Nothing has ever been wrong. Everything is just all right. You've never had a car breakdown. You ain't never had no. Can you imagine what life would be if we've never had any trouble? It is above our ability to even imagine, because since Adam messed up in the garden, we were promised that sin would affect our lives. Now, what the Bible calls sin, they call it mental illness now. My grandmother would call it, you got something in you I need to get out, so I'm going to have to use my razor strap to straighten out some of your foolishness. Brother Smith, I'm of the contention that's what's wrong with some of these young people is that they've never had a real butt whooping before. Huh? I know that Dr. Spock said it will mess up a child's psychology, but do I have any people in here crazy from having a butt whooping experience in their life? Do I have anybody in here crazy? You done went out of your mind and all of a sudden you don't act right. Every one of us who has some common sense have been grateful for the fact that somebody put something on the backside of us when we were out there acting a fool, and God has been gracious to us because why? Somebody loved us enough to correct us. And this is what I've learned, Sister Margaret. When you've gotten to the point that you have gotten too big for your britches, God will send you some trouble to bring you back down to the right size. Do I have any witnesses here? He don't say, count it all happiness, because happiness is based upon what's happening right now. Talk to me, somebody. Because if happy is only based upon the happenings that are happy. Okay, so a party is only good if something's happening. Okay. You've been saved too long, you done forgot. But when the party really got good is when the room changed odors. The buzz in the room. I'm dating myself, but I grew up with the dark purple velvet lights in the basement. And they had some medicinal cocktails that were in the air. And it seemed as if once the atmosphere got right, the party got right, and the music got right. And there's one of my songs. I don't talk about it because I don't want you to know that Pastor has another side, but I'm a Parliament Funkadelic fan. Ain't nothing like some Knee Deep. Huh? And when the party got good, the girl got close. And the room would be swaying, and we would be having a good time right there in the moment, getting our groove on. And we were trying our best to do every kind of move we saw on Soul Train because the people on American Bandstand could not dance. I know I'm talking down some folk lane right now. And the party was good. Nobody goes to a party that ain't good. A bad party is when the music ain't good and nobody wants to dance. That's how trouble is sometimes. Trouble will show up at your good party, trying to stop you from having a good time. And sometimes trouble wins. I've been bothered by a few things. I wanted to share them with you because justice seems to have escaped us to the point that we've lost our joy. Injustice has been winning for such a long time that we've lost our joy even for Jesus. Because if Jesus doesn't do anything extraordinary, we don't have any joy. But where I'm from, the fact that you woke up this morning was enough to have some joy. I'm not talking about the neighborhood I'm from. I'm talking about the life I've lived. Where I've lived and come through, just the fact I'm able to get up on the morning is enough to have some joy. We've let trouble become so painful that we have forgotten how good God is. I'm learning, Brother Keith, that some of the stuff that we have to go through is making us better because God knows where we're bitter. Some stuff I wanted in a rush, Sister Muriel. And I wasn't mature enough to handle what I wanted. Let me bring it home. Anybody remember the 1980 Malibu? Green with the half velvet top? 350 block motor with the gas carburetor. Anybody remember that? And I had some white wall tires on it, and I had that front bucket seat that you had to adjust the whole row. It wasn't new. It was 1980. This was early 90s. It might have been 92, 93. Car was about 12, 13 years old. And I had to learn how to take care of what I had in order to appreciate where I was trying to go. So I had to learn how to take care of that older car to learn how to appreciate when the Lord got me ready for a new car. We're rushing God to fix stuff that didn't happen overnight. And he's trying to fix it because you are not an overnight sensation. When you need a miracle, he sends one. But when he needs to get some mess out of us, he sends a little trouble so he can help you get better because he knows where you're better. Can I help you? Can I help you? We are some mean people sometimes. I ain't talking about anybody specific at our church. I'm just talking about us as black people. We mean sometimes. We got a job and we won't even treat the people right that got to come in the job to make sure we keep the job. Have you ever went somewhere and the people who were giving you customer service made you wish you had that they didn't come in that day? There was a time, Sister Gloria, that you could go to a fast food restaurant because it was a fast food restaurant. And you got your food fast at the fast food restaurant. Now, it's not even a fast food restaurant. It's what I call, I wish I hadn't came here today restaurant.